You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Fidelity's Option Trade Builder tool can help you confidently build an options trade in 3 simple steps. Just choose a strategy, select a contract, and then review the benefits and risks of the trade. Learn more about Option Trade Builder at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Join us now for the expert source for inside information on the options markets. It's time for Options Insider Radio with your host, Mark Longo.
All right, everybody. That music means it's time once again for Options Insider Radio, the interview program here on the old network where we welcome on guests from throughout the world of options and derivatives and sometimes beyond and proceed to pick their brains for the benefit of you, the listener. And today I'm pleased to be joined by 2 guests, one who's just been on a little while ago and then one who's making her first appearance. So we'll start with her. She is Miss Marie Swift. And Marie, welcome to the Options Insider Radio program.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark. Happy to be here.
And I'm also joined immediately to my left, seemed like you were just here a few days ago, probably because you were, by Mr. Mike Avila, a well-known and indeed infamous financial media consultant. Mike, welcome back to the studio for round 2 in a span of a couple of days.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. And hi, listeners. How y'all doing?
You might be setting a record for in-person, in-studio events within a span of a couple of days, in-person guests. You don't have usually that frequent with each other. So there you go. Must be doing something right. Marie, as we are wont to do with all of our first-timers here on the old network, why don't you go ahead and give our listeners a little bit of an overview of your background and what it is that you do?
I'm a marketing and PR person through and through, and what I know is how to message, how to position, and how to shine a spotlight on certain people when they have a mission, a passion, and a message. So for the past 30 years, I've been doing that in the financial services industry. I've had my own firm doing marketing and PR for a select group of financial advisors and asset managers and financial services institutions for about 26 years. But before that, I worked inside of a wealth management firm, 20 hard-charging top advisors, and did that for 5 years before hanging out my own shingle. So my company is Impact Communications, and we are well known in this space.
And Mike, you were just on a little while ago, so you don't need to do a full rundown. Give our listeners the Cliff Notes version of what it is that you do, sir, and what brings you here today.
The Cliff Notes. Well, actually, I'm here. I'm working with Marie Swift and Impact Communications as a Goodwill ambassador, and I've worked with Marie for 10 solid years on thought leader events, and we're here to talk about the thought leader event coming up in Chicago at the University of Chicago.
Well, you beat me to it, so let's get right to to your upcoming event. You know, we do a lot here on the network, of course, focusing on that intersection of advisors and options. It's not the biggest intersection, but it is growing, and it has been growing steadily. I like to think we're at least a small part of that growth, as we're seeing a lot of RIAs and asset managers and fund managers out there really starting to wake up to the benefits of options if they weren't already on board maybe this week. And the broad sell-offs we're seeing across the equity space may cause a few of them to start scratching their chin to say, let me look into this protection thing again. So these types of weeks, as shocking as they are to the system, usually end up being good for people coming on board and wanting to learn about options. But that said, Mike and or Marie, you know, if I want to learn more about options and I'm going to be in the Chicagoland area and I'm an RIA sometime in early November, what do you guys have for me?
Well, I don't know if we have anything for options per se, because that's your thing. But what we do is media, so we can talk about thought leadership and the whole summit event that we're doing. If advisors, if fund managers, anybody listening to this program, asset managers, this is for you if you want to step into the spotlight and really position yourself away from the competition. So what we have is a 2-day agenda. Day 2, you can stay and participate, or you can just observe the thought leaders who are recording almost like a TED Talk video at the University of Chicago Gleacher Center. But everybody who participates will be in the big full day where we have an interactive workshop experience, where we have faculty members who are television personalities, book authors, messaging and PR strategists. We have a whole array of faculty members who are going to be with us for a full day, November 9th. And we're calling that our Celebrity Platform Day because we believe that anybody who wants to stand out as a service professional really needs to position themselves as a celebrity of sorts, as a thought leader even. So that's why we're calling this the Advisor Thought Leader Summit, and it's November 9th and 10th at the University of Chicago Gleacher Center. Mike?
Yeah, and I've seen a few of these events happen with my career at Financial Planning Association, and I was also with the Financial Planning Magazine and Source Media for a number of years. And what I'd like to point out is there were 2 sessions that I would always attend, and usually it was options trading and then Marie Swift's kind of PR social media sessions. And the one thing I noticed as a good ad salesperson is where are the people at? And those rooms were always full. And so moving forward, you know, we now have our own room, and we get a chance to take maybe you as an advisor or a trader or a person, you know, coming on board to that next level. And the TED style talk is I think a great way to give you an example of how thought leadership works. If you've seen anything, you know, on TED, you know what we're talking about. But if you're an advisor and imagining that you would do your own TED Talk, you're going to learn from the best here in PR and marketing in this space.
So this isn't specifically then for advisors who want a certain asset class, like let's say options. It's more about advisors who, like you said, are into thought leadership, who want to get out there and brand themselves as thought leaders in whatever aspect of the space it is. Maybe it's long equity. Maybe they're a managed futures guy. Maybe it's, it could be any of the above. Maybe they just want to brand themselves as a thought leader in their particular area. That's who should attend this type of event?
Yeah, well, also, I think for your audience, if you're an advisor and you specialize in options, there's going to be a room full of advisors who could use a sub-advisor to put in an option strategy into their planning practice. That's why there's an options class at our education seminars. I think every single portfolio and plan out there needs an option strategy. I mean, this is our safety net, right, Mark?
Certainly need it in weeks like this. Who's doing the options class at your event?
This is actually a strictly media training. So I invite your listeners to come there, and we'll shake some hands, and maybe we'll go out and drink with a couple other advisors, and we'll talk options.
It is in Chicago, right? So it is inescapable that eventually the talk will turn to options. Someone just wrote into one of our other shows we were just doing earlier today, and they said they were hanging out on the weekends with their friends, and they would end up talking about exercise and settlement of options. I don't go that far down the rabbit hole, but sometimes people do. You never know.
So I'm glad you just said that because my Lyft driver just told me that he trades futures and options and he had to be in his 80s.
Well, there you go. It's that's the old barometer, right, of how much saturation it has reached. And when they always say the taxi driver, he knows everything, right? He's the guy who always says he knows everything. So he knows best about politics and about markets and about everything. So you always talk to your cabbie and get to those are the best stock tips, right? You hear it from your cab driver. He's just driving the cab for fun. Out there, the stock tips are where he makes the money. So Marie, this is effectively then for if you're an advisor out there, asset manager, and you're looking to build a little bit more brand in the space. It's got to be challenging too for you guys putting on this event and for the advisors out there because this space is so just hamstrung by compliance at every turn. They can't just go out there and just tweet up a storm, right? So it has to be a very specific way they have to engage with users, right? So I'm sure you guys focus a lot on that at this event as well.
You bet. We understand compliance through and through, and we've worked with all sorts of advisors and asset management firms over the years, so we can talk all of that through in advance of the conference for anybody who has a compliance process or has a concern about that. For instance, for the participants at the Thought Leader Day where we're doing the TED-type talks, we will actually help them script and prepare for their 8-minute thought leader talk in advance. They can run that through compliance if they so wish. They can get those comments back, and we can put those comments into a disclosure at the back end or front end or whatever is required, or maybe even work those comments in parenthetically so it sounds more like natural conversation. So the whole gist of this is to make the individual in front of the camera more likable, more personable, more credible, not like a commercial for them as a professional, but maybe more along the lines of character and overcoming some adversity. So if you notice, there's a kind of a formula whenever you watch a TED Talk. That's what we're hoping to capture with these thought leader videos, the bigger videos that we're doing about 8 minutes long on November 10th. But, for people who just want to do a 2-minute video with a television personality, that's baked right in. It's part of the equation, part of your ticket for that first big day, the Celebrity Platform Day on November 9th. And we have beautiful Angie Larson coming in from Salt Lake City. She has 14 years in front of the camera and 5 or 6 behind the camera producing shows now with television personalities and others who are known for health, wellness, and fitness. So Angie will be there talking about how to be in front of the camera, what to wear, what not to wear, where to look, how to be, how to have the right persona, so that nobody needs to feel intimidated by being in front of a room, whether it's a live audience or being in front of a camera, which more and more we know that video is super, super important for social media and sharing and building trust online. So the agenda is all online. I would invite anybody who's listening to go to advisorthoughtleadersummit.com, take a look at the agenda, take a look at the faculty, and follow us on Twitter. The handle there is Advisor Leader, and I'm at Marie Swift if you want to follow me on Twitter.
There you go. I think she pretty much said it all. Mike, any details you want to leave us with here in terms of, it's in Chicago, but where is it? And maybe some of the nitty-gritty in terms of pricing and everything else like that if people want to attend this thing.
Well, it is at the Gleacher Center, University of Chicago. If you go to the website, advisorthoughtleadersummit.com, and you choose that you want to go, you can click on register and put in my last name, Avila, A-V-I-L-A 30. That's Avila 30 is your coupon code, and you'll get 30% off, and that'll knock the price down quite a bit. It is a premium price. Because this is a thought leader event put on by thought leaders for thought leaders. So expect that your dollars will be well taken care of in the form that you're gonna leave there with something. I've never been in an event with Marie where anybody has been dissatisfied, and we've been doing this a long time.
So Advisor Thought Leader Summit is the website, and then the code is Avila 30.
Yep.
A-V-I-L-A. They heard it here first, listeners. ThoughtLeaderSummit.com. Use the code Avila 30 if you're going to be in Chicago at the Gleacher Center November 9th and 10th, and you want to do a little bit of outreach for your platform. It's a good thing to do. You got a little more here, Mike?
Yeah, and if you can't make this event, know that we do private events, we do breakfast briefings, we do roundtables. Follow Marie Swift at Marie Swift on Twitter, and send her a private message if you'd like to talk further, and maybe we'll just get you on the phone and see if you can't make this event, we'll do your own event.
sounds like more events will be coming up. Well, Marie and Mike, glad to have you guys back on. We'll look forward to seeing how this event plays out in next month, pretty soon. So check it out at advisorthoughtleadersummit.com to learn more. And we'll see you back here next time for more Options Insider Radio.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.